This episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by Cotality. Restoration moves fast, and so should your technology. Cotality Restoration brings job data, communication, documentation, and reporting together in one place. Less chaos, more control, better outcomes. Cotality Restoration. Elevate every job. Find out more at cotality.com. Hey restorers, welcome to a fresh episode of the Restoration Today podcast. I am joined by the lovely Holly Baldwin today from DocuSketch. I was talking about offline that I feel like I'm in a little bit of a DocuSketch world at the moment because I got to see Todd last week at the MCRA event, and I have another call with someone from the DocuSketch team later today. And so I think everybody in the industry hopefully knows DocuSketch at this point, and probably knows members of the team, whether it is you, Holly, or knows Todd or Rob or Nelson or Ben now, who's part of the team. I mean, you guys have really grown big time in the industry. And so today we're going to merge talking about serving our customers and the human side of restoration with technology, and kind of find that intersection is hopefully where we're going with this. But Holly, welcome. So I'm going to toss it over to you to let you introduce yourself and share a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having us too today. Me, DocuSketch, all the things. I know you deal with us a lot, so we are very gracious for
You guys are
having
great.
so anyway, yeah, I'm Holly Baldwin. I've been in the restoration industry for I think going on 9 years. Oh no, it'll be 10 years in January. That's wild. So 4 years at DocuSketch in January, and yeah, so almost a decade, which is crazy. It ages me a little bit. But yeah, love restoration. My background is obviously in Serpro, but been with DocuSketch and absolutely loving it over here. So that's pretty much my background in terms of the restoration world. So I've worked in everything from administrative to sales to operations to account management, and I've just really honed in on account management and what that looks like. And just that's where I'm at now, and I absolutely love it. Like I couldn't have made it any better, dreamed it any better than it is.
Okay, so that was where I was going to go with my next question. So both you and so I am a decade in the industry this year. So we're like right in line of how long we've been here. Did you ever imagine that this is where you were going to be for your career? So go further in your background. My background is in journalism and PR, and I thought I'd be working at a newspaper, or I don't know. Here I am. So I'm a little adjacent, but where did you think your path was going to go?
Oh, the polar opposite. So when I graduated high school, they expect you know what you're going to do with the rest of your life. And I'm like, that is a crazy concept to put on an 18-year-old or 17-year-old. And I was like, I'm going to just go to medical because that's where money is. I don't know. That was just where my brain was at that point of my life. So I went for medical billing and coding. I hated it. I went and got a certificate to do it, and went and worked at a hospital and hated it so much. I just wasn't built for it at all. Everything, it just grossed me out. I was like, I don't like any of this. I don't think this is actually it for me. So I ended up in Serpro because my cousin, she worked at Serpro, and I knew she had been there for a little while, and she seemed to like it, and it was local to where I lived. And I was like, hey, is any position, and it just, I'm telling you, it just everything lined up so perfectly for me to go and interview and get this job as an administrative assistant in commercial large loss. So I had no idea what I was getting into. If it was the craziest thing. So yes, nothing in me thought I would ever be in restoration. And then I ended up getting my degree in what did I get my degree in? Business management. Sorry, I had to look at it. I was like, I don't remember. It's been a minute. But I ended up getting my degree. I went for 4 full years while I was working full time online, and got my degree in business management, not because I wanted to manage a business, but because I was trying to learn what franchises were doing. But also I knew if I ever left the industry, but I ain't going anywhere. I love it. It's such a great industry. It's such a versatile industry. So that's how I started and how I got here. And yeah, no, in no way, if you asked me when I was a kid, I would have been like, yeah, I'm going to be restoration. I didn't know what restoration was. So anyway, it's definitely different, but I love it.
What would you tell people who are just graduating high school that are maybe looking for a career path? What would you tell them about, restoration and maybe going a different direction? Everybody's encouraged to go to college right away, and I'm over here like restoration has
Yeah.
great
Yes.
options.
Absolutely. No, I'm a big like because obviously like I talk to a lot of younger generation at our church and stuff, and I'm very big on like get experience first, then you can figure out what you want to do. Like get the experience, make some money, because that will help you to kind of learn what you want to do, but get some like people skills. So I'm always like telling people, I'm like, yeah, go work at a Servpro. Like they're always hiring techs of some capacity. Like they're local, like they a lot of times they have benefits. It's full-time positions. Like go do that. And I'm like, you're not only going to get like on the job training, but you're also going to get people skills and you're going to learn how to run things. You know, you might have a water loss in your house. Now you know how to take care of it at your in your on a personal level. But also it can be a career. There are so many people in the restoration industry that started as med techs and now they're GMs. Like that
Yep.
story is the tale as old as time, right? Like we all know them. So I'm like, it's just cool to see because I'm like, that can also be a career. No, it doesn't have a degree behind it, but it's like a trade essentially. I believe that restoration is like a trade because there are lots of things that humans have to do that computers and AI cannot do. So yeah, big proponent of going into restoration. I push it a lot to people that know me because I'm like, I love it. So I'm like, you get to help people too. So I think that that's really fulfilling as well.
I totally agree. And I can just see you in medical billing, your soul just like shriveling up a little bit.
Mm.
It seems so far outside of like, so I'm glad you found your way. It worked out.
Yes, me too. Hey, you know what though? The degree has helped me save some money in the hospital bills and things whenever they coded incorrectly. So I'm like, it was worth it, you know? Just went through a whole year of school for that.
Excuse me, that's the wrong code on that one.
100%. I'm like, hey, this actually needs to be coded a different way. And they're like, oh, what? I'm like, sorry, I don't, that's all I got. That's, you
So
can
does
just
this mean that you also nerd out like on Exactimate, um, like line items and stuff?
So I want to, but Nelson will not. Nelson is just keeping me away from it. He's like,
Okay.
no. I'm like, please teach me. And he's like, he always does say, he's like, I'll teach you on it. And I'm like, I don't know that you want to, because I would be that person that would nerd out. So probably not the best fit for like an estimator or somebody who would be using line items. So anyway, yeah, I have better uses of my time. I'm just gonna, but if I know a line item, it's like I don't ever forget it. And I like tell people, I'm like, hey, use that code. And they're like, okay. So yeah, probably.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, so part of what we wanted to talk about, I feel like the industry is at this interesting point where technology moved and it continues to move really fast. And so a lot of people have adopted 360 and have adopted other technologies at this point. And so now it's also finding this place where we're making sure we're serving our customers and not just marching in with all our fancy technology and let's do our 360s and get our scope and we're going to get you done, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner, and we're done. So how do you kind of guide people through, okay, bring in the technology into your company, but use it to actually help your customer service? Where's kind of that intersection?
Yeah, so for technology, I think that what you just said is a great point, right? Because we don't want people to like march in with technology because there are going to be different ages of people, customers, so to speak, that they might not be technology savvy or they might not care anything about the technology, right? So understanding that you're bridging a gap, what are they looking for and figuring that out and making it essentially like a white glove service. I say white glove service a lot because I believe that is what technology should be in the restoration world, is adding that little bit of a level. So for a customer walking in and saying, hey, I understand that you guys are really concerned with where your belongings are at, making sure that your belongings are put back in the right spot whenever we return. So I'm actually going to use this 360 camera. Let me show you how it works. Walk them through what you're doing in that first room. And then if they follow you around and they talk to you the whole time you're doing it, so be it, right? But it kind of gives them a little bit of comfort to know that you're doing this with purpose and intentionality. So that way we don't, one, lose your stuff, and two, everything's accounted for, right? If
Yeah.
something is misplaced, we find it. If something is not where it's supposed to be, we know where to put it back at because we can go back and check this out. But also, we know that we can send this to the insurance company and then we're going to get your full payout. We're going to get your payment for you that way that there are no dollars left on the table. You're going to get your full claim amount for your contents, XYZ, right? So I think for me, when I explain that, I think that it again, it's just a white glove service. Like, how are we showing you how this technology works? Not just, hey, we're going to do these pictures of your house,
Yeah.
without any explanation. And some people are super private and they're like, I don't know how I feel about it. Let me show you why I'm doing it. Let me explain why I'm doing it. Like, and this information isn't going anywhere besides, but to me and to the adjuster, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's not going anywhere, etc. So I think that it kind of builds a little bit of trust there as well with the homeowner or the insured.
Perfect. So, one of the other topics within kind of the documentation space is getting paid is obviously like the number one pain point in the industry, right? And so we're going to release our state of the industry pulse check data in a few weeks, but it does show that payment times are even going up depending on the type of work you're doing. Unless you're doing private pay, it's getting harder and harder to get paid. So remove from the conversation the adjusters that just don't even return phone calls and carriers that don't return phone calls. That is totally like kind of outside the conversation. But for contractors that have an adjuster that is responsive or have a carrier representative that they are working with, how can having good documentation, 360 scans help like, is it truly expediting payment? What kind of difference is it making in getting paid?
Yeah, so when they're using 360 documentation, number one, the adjuster isn't having to go on site anymore, right? Like, I mean, think about like the way that I always go back to car because car insurance, like insurance is insurance, right? It's just different facets. So like car insurance, when you have an accident with Progressive, there is an app that you have that you can take pictures of the claim now. That because we're saving the adjuster from having to go check your car out. We're saving them from having to go and look at your fender physically. You're taking the picture and it's going to the adjuster and they're sitting at a desk typing this stuff in, seeing what the value is, boom, you're getting a check. The end. Like it saves them time, it saves them money, it saves them windshield time, all the different times that it's saving. So for restoration, it's even bigger because now we have a 3,200 square foot house that they're going to have to go in and look at every nook and cranny and look and see like, what are we missing? What do we need? Like, what are we paying for essentially? When someone takes a company like DocuSketch, does 360 documentation, and then they send the link to the adjuster and they say, hey, Mr. Adjuster, here's our information. Here's what we got at the Mr. Smith's house. And, let me know if you need anything else. And then the next day when they go back out and they've placed equipment or they've pulled equipment, they're showing the moisture meter to show how wet the wall still is, why justifying why that DHU is still there. It just creates this like transparency, but it also creates the relationship building because now I'm texting you every day. Now I'm sending you an update every day. Now you know that I'm responsive, you're responsive, and now the next time that adjuster has a loss, they're calling you to say, hey, you did so good on that last job. I'm going to give you my next line of work. That's what they say when they call you back, right? But it just creates, I think it bridges this gap with 360 to say, hey, we're going to give you all this information because we're already here. Like the franchise is already on site. So why would they not give that information? But it saves so much time and so much money. And like it again, it just creates this like relationship because they're sending messages every day. And then if the adjuster has a question, they can respond. Hey, why did you guys remove this drywall? Oh, that was because there was mold. Like the questions can be answered. You know what I mean? In a quicker time, but that also gets them paid faster because there's less questions.
Yep.
I don't have to ask a question when I can see the picture of it.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's why it is speeding up in the way in which it is, the rate in which it is. They're saying, okay, we can see this, we understand. There was DHUs here, there was air movers here for X amount of days. It's all date and time stamped. I have no questions here. Here's a check. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. Like it's and again, like they're more willing, I think, to write the check whenever they know like there's no question. Like I can see all of it. So I think a lot of the times the questions come from when they don't see the justification of why you had that air mover still sitting there for 3 days or whatever. But whenever they can see again like a DHU and they can see that moisture reading, they can see it still in fact has moisture. So there's lots of justification there. So I could go on a whole tangent, but that's why I see it in that way is because it's helping them. So yeah, of course you're going to write a check faster because I don't have questions. So it eliminates that back and forth.
Yeah, perfect. And that does help educate. There's a lot of newer adjusters out there that haven't been in the industry a long time. So the next kind of step that we see in the industry now is people adopting AI. So where is AI going to merge into the 360 conversation? What are you seeing in that space specifically and in documentation as well? And one kind of like, I know, caveat on this is AI hallucinates, right? So we need to make sure that however we're using AI to document and scope our jobs or whatever tools we're bringing in aren't going to hallucinate something on our jobs, right? So how is AI coming into the conversation now when it comes to like 360 and documentation?
So AI has been around for a minute with like 360 documentation, right? For like instant sketches. That's like everybody's like, oh my gosh, these instant sketches. And like okay, hear me out. Instant sketches on mitigation, sure, makes sense. Like if you're out a little bit on a mitigation job, every single person listening to this probably be like, yeah, okay, fair. But many people are using it for like recon, and that is unwise because as you said, AI can kind of tend to hallucinate a little bit and be like, because it doesn't know and it isn't learned yet in like the scenarios of shadows and like dark corners and things like that. So there's a lot of like missing pieces. So AI has like been in the 360 world for I feel like a while, like it's always been a thing. Um, so for us, like I think AI, like we've looked at it with like contents, we've looked at it with with obviously with documentation, and I would be silly to say that we aren't like looking at AI options for different things, but we really pride ourselves in what we do with people
Yeah.
because like while there might be an AI touch, it's not perfect. And people, of course, we're not perfect, but if we merge those two things and we say, hey, we're going to use some AI, we're going to use some version of human being, that can really bring again bridge that gap and kind of make it another level of like wow this is really close but it also saved us some time. So I think in the future for us I definitely see us going more in that direction, but I don't know what that looks like or what that time frame even looks like because people are always like oh you guys are going to be like you guys are going to have like all AI estimates. I still think we're pretty far from that like
I
in
yeah.
yeah, I think we're pretty far from that. And to be honest, I genuinely this is me giving like DocuSketch a toot toot because they always get my backing. Like I'm a very like loyal DocuSketch person. We really, really, really strive to have like a human touch to everything because of the reason of like stepping away. Because a lot of people are looking at like doing AI calls, like AI, like having their call center or their calls being AI, that can really change kind of how people look when they call you. And if you're talking to a computer and you're in a situation where you're standing in, water, like I don't want to talk to a computer. I need like Michelle to answer the phone, right? So for us, it's the same way. Like if they're having, I mean, and of course, like they're not going to have such an issue with DocuSketch that they're, in chaos, but maybe they are, and they're like, I'm in front of this customer, and this customer, like, this isn't working. You don't want the AI person to answer the phone. So anyway, I say that to say I think that like for us, like in the 360 world, it's getting more and more popular for other companies. I don't think it is for us at this time. I think and Martin and Ralph might watch this and be like, she's wrong. Who knows? I don't really care. But I don't think that we're in a spot where we're looking at being like AI is our next move. Like, no, like we might add something where if we have restoration contractors that come to us and they say, hey, this makes sense for us to have this, and this faster or whatever, and we don't care that there's some discrepancies, then sure, DocuSketch is probably going to look at that with a microscope and say, all right, yeah, for sure. Because for anybody to think that we don't look at competitors and know that they're using AI to get instant sketches would be very, very, very silly. Because of course we know that. Like, but again, we really strive and try to set ourselves apart from competition in that way because one, they do what they do best. That's great. But two, we do what we do best. So for us, it's like we're not like intimidated or being like, oh, because that's been a big question, like of intimidation of AI. And again, like you said, it's not there yet. Will it be there? I mean, who knows? I don't know. Like it's not my business. I try not to think about it that far in the future. Sorry if you heard my dog bark.
All good. We're
Good.
still
Okay.
waiting for a cat to fly through. For anybody that
Oh,
is listening, you might have to watch this one on YouTube because I hear that a cat might appear. So we
she
left the
might.
door open for a cat to appear.
Keep waiting. She might. I felt one a minute ago. So I was like looking around. I was like, uh-oh. But yeah. So hopefully that answered your question for AI. I don't know. I kind of went a couple different caveats there.
No, it did. And there are places and uses for using more AI, but I don't think we're ever going to get to the place in restoration, like you said, of replacing the humans. Like humans are always going to do the work. And then also in AI, like identifying is that lath and plaster, or is that drywall, or is it whatever? How deep is the wall? Where are the studs? Like all of those things, we're so far from all of that. And the human element is so important in restoration. Like nobody wants to have a loss in their home and have somebody come in that doesn't care and is just taking pictures and like, I don't care about you.
No,
So,
absolutely. And again, like I always think about generationally, right? Like somebody that might be Gen X might be like, "Oh my gosh, that's so cool." But somebody that's like my grandparents' age is not. Like they don't care about that kind of stuff. They want a human element, they want the phone call, they want the warm touch, like they want like a handshake. So it's like that kind of stuff is important. And I think we need to be very careful of getting away from that because you know what I mean? Like it's important because you think about all the greatest customer service, relationship stores, companies, like that's the kind of thing that like for me, I'm like, yeah, they're not doing AI stuff yet, and I'm not saying like I'm not like anti-AI. I think there's a great
Yeah,
place for all
I
of those
agree.
things. But it's just something that I don't think that we're like, taking all of our eggs and putting it in that basket and running with it either.
Yes. The second we become a strictly transactional industry is the second that I don't know, we're not restoration anymore. So
No, no.
yeah.
It's all about
Um,
it's all about people.
it is. Have you seen on the inside part of restoration companies, anybody doing anything fun to get people to adopt technology within the company? I know we have a little bit of like tech fatigue sometimes in the industry. There's so many platforms out there now, and change management is really hard. And you could adopt a new software like every week and spend a whole year with something new, I think, at this point in our industry. So, do you see anybody doing anything fun to encourage people to like adopt technology well?
So there's a couple franchises that I know they like one of them specifically they so when the backpacks came out for DocuSketch, if
Mhm.
you saw the backpacks, they're
Yep.
amazing. They're tactical, they're awesome. And everyone, and I mean everyone actually hated our briefcases, our old briefcases. Um,
Yes.
I ironically have one here with me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's as big as my whole body. And so when we came out with these backpacks, everyone was very excited. So we had a couple franchises that were like, hey, if we're gonna they said they were like we're gonna give our teams backpacks as they finish training with DocuSketch. So lots of people would like come in and they obviously are using DocuSketch and stuff like that. But we're really big promoters of the training because you have somebody that will come in and they will learn from a PM who has really bad habits with DocuSketch or cuts corners with DocuSketch, and or he or she does not know that there's some different ways and different things that you can do. Maybe not like maybe we added some stuff in the last year since they've been an employee with whoever, right? So they were like, anybody that does the DocuSketch training, we're going to give them a backpack. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing to do for them because it helped them to adopt the technology. Sorry if you hear him barking. I don't know what he's barking at.
Oh,
But it helps them to adopt the technology, but it also kind of like promotes and gives them something. We also had, I'm pretty sure there was another company that did it. They were like giving them gift cards, like if they did DocuSketch on stuff. But then you have other companies who are like, yeah, basically DocuSketch is part of our workflow, and like you do it or you don't. And they have some not fun ways of implementing it because they had there's some people within their franchises who were like, we're just not going to do it. And they're like, well, if we have a refrigerator that gets scratched, you're going to pay for it. So like either do it or don't. But everybody has different learning ways. Everybody has to,
yep.
figure out different things that work for them. So I thought the backpack thing was great for training. That was the one thing that I've heard from that franchise that they like called me. They're like, we're going to order like 6 backpacks and we're going to give them away as like gifts or whatever. And or like if there was another one, but I don't remember what the criteria was, but it's something like I thought like a PM, like if they met some sort of mark, whatever that internally was, they were going to give them a backpack. So just things that they could earn to, but they're promoting the technology use still, because why would you want a DocuSketch backpack if you weren't going to carry the camera? So
Yes.
anyway, but everybody that uses it loves it. So I mean, once they get it in their hands, like once they get them to adopt it, that typically is all it takes, and then they're off to the races. So typically it's not too hard of a sell once they actually get them to use it and see how easy it is.
Yeah. I'm trying to decide in my head what direction I want the conversation to go now. I'm curious because you do work with a lot of serve pros. We talked about getting paid as being a big pain point in the industry. Adopting technology is something that's big right now. What are you hearing? Like, what's the biggest thing that's maybe keeping the owners in general that you work with up at night right now?
The owners, you said?
Yeah, or the
Oh,
leadership of the companies that you work with.
I think right now, like specifically, like in the time frame that we're in, the fact that there is literally not any storm events.
Yes.
Like this has been one of the quietest years. I just told somebody this yesterday. I was like, this has actually probably been one of the slowest years I've ever been in restoration.
Yes.
Um, in 10 years. Like, I mean, it really has. Like, there's not any major hurricanes, there's not any fires, there's not any freezes, there's not any weather really coming in that we're seeing form. And of course, like that's kind of what the restoration industry is based off of in a lot of ways. And not that it always was, but that's kind of where it has transitioned, right? Because in former years, it was like, oh, just, the small things, the things that just kind of happen. But then as catastrophes happen and as restoration got bigger and bigger and bigger, become events, now they're storm chasers. It really has become based off of that. So I think that the bigger owners, the ones who are maybe on the coast and, the ones, I just had a conversation yesterday with some owners who they're so slow right now that they're like, we're having to look at everything, like all of our cash flow, because we do not have anything coming in other than like basic residential stuff, like duct cleaning. Like we're just trying to get anything at this point just to kind of keep the lights on. So that's been a big thing. And I try to, encourage the franchises, like the ones that have DocuSketch, obviously, like, making sure we manage their package appropriately is very important for us, but also to say, hey, you guys are still going door to door, right? Like you're still marketing, you're still doing the things because you have to. Like you have to try and drum up that business. You have a DocuSketch account still. Take that with you. Go and do like an ERP is what
Yep.
the terminology is with Serpro, and make sure that you're helping them be prepared for if there is an emergency, so that way that you are their first call. And even if they don't have an emergency, that's not to say that their neighbor down the street doesn't have a fire and they're like, oh my gosh, we don't know who to call. And they say, oh, wait, I have this card from this Surf Pro. They just stopped by the other day. They did this emergency preparedness plan with me. And like, you know what I mean? So just to kind of have that like touch point. So I'm like, still use your DocuSketch. Like, don't order the sketch if you don't need the sketch. Like, I understand that. But like, if you're just going in and you want to do a tour at no cost, even the franchises that are going out to like the Chamber of Commerce meetings or like those county meetings, city meetings, to say, hey, whoever emails me, within the business day, the first 10 people, I'm going to come out to your business and do a free 3D docu-sketch of your business, or you can just say 3D. You don't have to use our name, obviously, but obviously whoever emails you, you're going to go see them because it's, but they just think it's those first 10, right? Because that's going to put that urgency on it. And you're going to go out and make that connection, which is the most important thing. Then give them a docu-sketch tour for nothing. I mean, it costs you a
Yep.
tiny bit, and give that to them and say, hey, hope you guys have a good day, the end, and you move on. But again, it's just kind of drumming up that business that might not be there. So I think, to me, I think that is what is keeping people up right now, is the fact that there is not any
Yes.
work. And that's just ways that I would like encourage to use your subscription. If you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing, we need to cancel this. Because once you start like canceling technology and you start getting away from it, it's gonna be really hard to like integrate it back into your day to day, because once you step away from it, are you gonna start taking pictures with your iPad? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how are you gonna get back into that documentation? So those are good questions to ask in slow seasons.
That was great insight. I knew the ERP example, and that was a good one, but I liked the idea of, you go to like a meeting and do the first 10 that email me. I can just imagine being a facility maintenance person and then getting this scan and being like, oh my gosh, this is our whole building. So then if you have an emergency, here you go. Here's where everything is. That's, yeah.
And the beauty of it is I actually took that from Santa Davison, so I have to give him credit there because he was the one that suggested. I was like, yeah, I was like, everybody knows Santa, but I was like, when you have that, when you do that tour, obviously it doesn't cost anything, but the restoration, whoever ordered it can order the sketch when it's needed, but like you can go in and note like where those emergency shutoff valves are, like you can go ahead and note those things before you ever order the sketch, and if they call you, you press one button and your order and the sketch is getting generated, like. It's ingenious, to be honest, but yeah, I think that's a great, it was a great call out. Somebody suggested, or Santa suggested that, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start using that now when I'm talking about it, because I never thought it, but that's what he does. So when he goes and visits people, he says, hey, I'm gonna get you a free, at no cost, because it's not free. It costs somebody something, so at no cost to you. So I think that's a great call out to use at those meetings, especially.
Absolutely. More useful than donuts or cookies that get delivered by every single restoration company and everybody that wants their business.
Oh, true, man.
Bring
It's
more value to what you're doing, help solve their problems. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I ain't bringing no food in, but I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna actually get you this 360 that you might need, because you don't know if somebody has a blueprint of their building or not either. So if they don't, now you're providing that as well. You're providing a blueprint essentially to them.
Absolutely. Perfect. Okay. Anything else that you want to add on this like human touch element with technology? Anything that we haven't talked about? Anything you want to add in?
I'm trying to think. I like just had this whole conversation yesterday because I was like, I'm very passionate about this. Like, if you can't tell, like I'm very like, I think we should have human touch. Like, it's so important. It's so important. It's so important. Especially after 2020. Like,
Yeah.
like that was a big gap as well. No, I feel like I've said everything that I said yesterday, to be honest, about like human touch and like the importance of it and like ERPs and you
Mhm.
know making sure AI is not like kind of getting in between. So yeah, I feel like I've kind of hit every mark that I wanted to. Unless
Good.
you the other thing I can add
Per-
to.
Nope, this was perfect. This was exactly what I was going for. So anybody who's listening, if you want to learn more, we have I think 5 on-demand webinars with DocuSketch. Holly and Santa are in one of them and share a lot of really good advice related to like sales, customer service, how to implement all of those things. So if you even want to do a deeper dive, you can go watch that for free. There's a lot of good conversations in those webinars and different DocuSketch people there as well. So Holly, thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you're here and not doing medical billing and coding. That seems just outside of you. So, thank you so much for your insight and your wisdom. And I look forward to seeing you probably at many trade shows in 2026.
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
For more Restoration Today and the latest news, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, and find the latest episodes of the Restoration Today podcast on your favorite podcasting platform.